Let's talk today about the rice and Indomie phenomena often used by African politicians. What do I mean by this? Well, keep watching as I break it down for you. I'm going to be discussing government bribery, the subtle art of subduing citizens. It's basically about politicians keeping citizens quiet with gifts. In the grand performance of government, the relationship between the state and its citizens is often painted as a beautiful partnership. But in many developing countries, there's a sneaky game going on. Politicians are bribing citizens with gifts to keep them quiet. Nigeria, with its rich resources and colorful politics, is a perfect example of this trickery. The facade of benevolence. Politicians in Nigeria love to hand out goodies to make themselves look good. Think of it like your favorite uncle who always brings you treats, but only when he wants something. From food aid and cash handouts to cheap housing, these gifts seem generous but have a hidden agenda to buy loyalty and silence complaints. Remember the COVID-19 lockdown in 2020? The Nigerian government distributed palliatives such as food and cash transfers to help citizens cope with the lockdown's economic impact. While these measures provided immediate relief to struggling families, they also served to curry favor with the electorate, particularly around election times. It conveniently made the government look like a hero just when elections were around the corner. Such financial incentives create a dependency that can be exploited to secure political support, subtly coercing citizens into aligning with the incumbent administration. In other words, these handouts create a dependency, making it hard for people to criticize the very hand that feeds them.
If you're liking this discussion so far, that's great. Please be sure to like and subscribe for future topics. You are appreciated. Now let's continue.
The illusion of economic stability. Another common tactic is the manipulation of economic policies to create an illusion of prosperity, a trick that makes the economy look better than it is. Imagine a magician making you believe your empty wallet is full of money. Politicians may boast about job numbers, downplay inflation, or take on massive loans to fund short term projects. This makes life seem rosier, but it's like borrowing your neighbor's car to impress a date. Eventually, you have to return it and the truth comes out. In Nigeria, whenever oil prices soar, the government claims the economy is booming. But for many Nigerians, this boom doesn't translate into better living conditions. By making it seem like the country is doing great, the government distracts people from deeper issues and keeps everyone relatively happy and quiet. The culture of dependency. Social welfare programs are essential, but they can also make people dependent on the government. It's like a parent who never teaches their child to cook, so the kid always relies on them for meals. In Nigeria, programs like the Conditional Cash Transfer (CCT) and Trader Money give financial aid to the poorest citizens. Well, a handful of them anyway. While this help is crucial, it also means people might be less likely to bite the hand that feeds them. In some cases, governments use basic necessities like food and healthcare as tools to keep people in line. By controlling access to these essentials, they ensure that people stay loyal out of fear of losing what little they have. The distraction of populist policies. Populist policies are the political equivalent of offering sweets to a child to keep them quiet. These policies promise quick fixes and instant benefits, like lower fuel prices or flashy infrastructure projects. While they might bring short term joy, they often lack long term planning and can cause problems down the road. In Nigeria, temporarily reducing fuel prices through subsidies is a classic move. Sure, it makes things cheaper for now, but it can lead to budget issues and fuel shortages later. These short term wins distract people from bigger problems like corruption and inequality, letting the government off the hook. The moral implications. Bribing citizens to keep them quiet raises significant moral and ethical concerns. It undermines true democracy, where people should be able to make informed decisions and trust their leaders. Instead, it turns citizenship into a transaction, where people get goodies in exchange for their silence. This strategy also widens the gap between the haves and the have-nots. Those who rely on government support are most vulnerable to manipulation, creating a society where a few corrupt leaders thrive at the expense of the many. In developing countries like Nigeria, the sneaky bribery of citizens by corrupt leaders is a widespread issue. While these gifts can bring temporary relief, they are often meant to keep people quiet and loyal. By creating dependency, faking economic stability, and distracting with short term goodies, governments manipulate their citizens into complacency. To protect democracy and ensure genuine engagement, we need to call out these tactics. Citizens must demand honesty, accountability, and long term planning from their leaders. Only then can we build a society based on true respect and mutual benefit rather than manipulation and control. Let's end the rice and Indomie influencing.